The absolute most amazing podcaster.
Yes. Pretty good, dude. Not bad.
I'm okay.
I've seen your movie podcast. Goes hard, man.
Yeah. I got 2 more I need to put out.
Which ones are you guys doing? Reviewing?
Still working on. I still haven't put out Future War, Tomorrow War.
The one that we watched
in July.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
we can talk about.
Did you watch any of the
Symbiote Psychotaxiplasm, which was a really good one.
The weird one that was like from the 60s.
Is it a movie? Is it a documentary? Like
it's kind of both. Yeah, you're not sure. And then there was. Did
you guys do any of the Fear Streets that were on Netflix?
That's funny you say that because that's on my list. I haven't watched them yet. There's 3, and the goal was to watch them all, but I said if they're bad, I just won't make it through, and that'll be part of what we talk about.
They were actually kind of scary.
Were they?
To me.
All right, I'll check it out.
I feel like you got to watch all 3 after you watch the first 2.
I'll probably watch one of them today because I need to. I've been behind on that my movie watching.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But last night I just watched. So I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is a Netflix.
I've seen it.
It's really good.
It is.
It's by one of my favorite directors, writers.
Like he crushes. He does really well. Can't think of his name.
Me
His name
either.
was like Todd.
I call him Meth Damon because he looks like Matt Damon if he's been alive.
Just a fatter version.
He was in Friday Night Lights, which is a really good TV show. Which I don't even like football, but it's like just a great show.
Get him.
It's just real life like situational drama stuff. So he was young back then, but already a good actor. But yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's
progressed
a lot.
And the
he's getting some bigger roles.
Yeah, no, he was on some Black Mirror a Black Mirror episode.
Black Mirror.
Too. But yeah, he's getting a lot of stuff.
Did any of you guys watch some of the latest
You're gonna want to get closer
Walking
to that
Dead episodes?
No, I didn't know that show's still going on.
Yeah, they continued it.
I never got into it, to be honest, man. But
really,
I never really gave it a
fair.
fair.
Pull it closer to you. Pull your stand closer.
Okay.
No, not you, just Matt.
Oh, Matt.
I'm trying to get on the
Skirt.
other side of it.
Honestly, I never really gave The Walking Dead a fair shot. Like,
it's not great.
Just committed time to it.
It was
there are
fun
great,
at first, and then
there are great moments.
Yeah.
There are great moments. That character Negan, what they do with him, is just.
I don't think I ever met that character.
It was towards the end when I gave up on the show,
okay.
but I tried to give it another run, like within the last year.
I heard they just went too many seasons, and the writing just got really bad.
They tried to quit the entire show like 3 years ago, and they're like, "This is the last season," and then they do another one.
Yeah, I never thought the writing was very good at all, actually.
Not even the first 2 seasons?
When I read the comic books, and the writing was even worse than the comic books, I thought maybe this is like better, and it wasn't. It wasn't good.
Still sucked.
They made it a lot more about like the nature of humanity and drama.
Okay.
Turns out the real monster was man.
That's exactly it, and it's just redundant.
Yeah, it's a little too much of the same. Yeah. But yeah, we're technically recording, so we can just like jump
cool. We should
whatever.
Keep this in here, man. Like,
yeah,
just keep going.
Just letting you know.
Sweet. I can see the red on the screen.
Oh yeah, we're recording.
Sweet.
We're back together. What has it been?
At least 2 months, I would say.
2 or 3.
Month and a half ish.
At least a month and a half. Yeah.
6 to 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Well, lots happened.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A lot. I started a part-time job. It's kind of a big deal. No,
right?
Kind of a big deal.
Bitcoin's going to the moon.
Bitcoin's going back up.
Paul went to Nigeria and got his family.
Yes. Got my family here. Right. You know, I'm a family man doing that whole thing. So it's been great. It's challenging. Yep.
Congrats, bro.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Couldn't happen.
Going for that American dream, man.
The white picket fence.
I was telling Zach, all he needs is that white picket fence, a dog, 2.1 children.
You got it all.
A minivan.
2.1, okay.
Yeah, it's 2.1.
Yeah, he wants like just a foot of a child. I love that foot.
Oh God.
It was a sad day when my foot got sick and we had to put my foot down.
Right, yeah.
Put my foot down.
Foot's rights.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Look, Footloose Let's go.
Do you guys have any topics that were on your mind that you wanted to start off with today?
Well, a lot's been happening in the news. I guess the biggest topic of today's news world is Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Taliban.
Afghanistan? You mean that thing that's been going on for like 50 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Why now?
What? Yeah.
When we're talking about vaccine passports and people like going against this whole mandate in different states and trying to like protest it, it's just like, let's pull a card out of George W. Bush's hat, you know, like.
Yeah, Obama's
this
presidency.
worked well for him.
Well, this really feels like Obama term 3.0. Like they're going back to a lot of the same things that he talked about and the same. He was dealing with the Middle East a lot.
The same blueprint, kind of.
He bombed like 8 Middle Eastern countries, I think, during his, and supposedly pulled out and then went back and pulled out and went back
multiple times.
Like, yeah, it's the same playbook.
It sounds like they're fucking the Middle East.
They've been doing that for, like I said, literally. I wasn't kidding. Over 50 years. The CIA first like threw out like an Iranian leader in the 50s, and that's just the first one I know about. But they've been like destabilizing that area for like almost a century.
Right.
I wonder how far back it goes. Like, we have the whole Crusades issue. Like, and George W. Bush actually said this is the new crusade when we started going to war with Afghanistan and Iraq.
It was kind of a holy war, a little bit.
But it's been going on since 1500s.
Which is interesting, because before I was taking notes when I thought we were going to do a podcast like a month ago. So these notes are like from a month and a half ago.
They could still be relevant, and they could tie into some of the topics.
It's just a month and a half ago, Biden said the biggest threat wasn't terrorists from the Middle East, but white supremacist terrorists was the biggest threat to America. That's what he said. And now we're talking about Taliban. So it's like after he said that, the narrative needed to get shifted again.
Yes.
Like, no, let's talk about the Middle East again.
So what if Trump would have done what Biden has done? How much hate would
he tried to?
He kind of did. Yeah.
They lied to him.
But I feel like Biden's not getting as much hate as Trump would have.
Oh, absolutely.
That's just so I'm kind of getting.
But that's because the left is blaming it on Trump. Like, he actually put this plan into motion, and Biden is just carrying it on.
It's so annoying, dude.
But
it's hard for me to just watch the news any side anymore, honestly. Like, it's just so hard.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I was telling him earlier. Even for this show, I almost want us to switch to more like talking about just interesting topics or ideas, or like researching interesting things. But like,
outside of the norm.
Obviously we can still talk about the news, but I'm sick of, because it's just the same stuff.
Yeah.
Like we've literally been at war in the Middle East like my entire life. Like it's just never ending, and it's always the same drama. Oh, should we pull out? Oh, we pulled out. There's problems. Oh, we got to go back. Oh, things are destabilizing. Oh, we got to pull out. And it's just like, I'm so tired of it.
Yeah, I'm just curious where you guys think that this time it's going. Does it mean just we're going to put troops back in there, or are we going to have possibly a refugee crisis? Because all the news was today, like every single headline was like 800 refugees from Kabul got on a U.S. carrier jet. And you just see these pictures. I mean,
the images.
I couldn't get rid of it in my news feed, and it's just wild to think.
Weren't they like in some big airplane?
Like the number on the airplane was 911. Like it had that on the. I think it was in reverse though. It was like 1119 or something. But yeah, anyway. No, it's well, in the old playbook, to me, it seemed like it was connected to destabilizing specifically Europe, because they all have like incredibly open borders in Europe. So like, especially the last 10 years, that was happening a lot, where like we would be bombing over there, and then people would just be flooding into Europe and flooding into all these Northern European countries. And it was almost like we were at war with them by like weird means of like sending refugees there to like disrupt their country and cause other problems.
Absolutely.
So maybe they're going to bring them.
In what way does that benefit America, though?
I don't know. I think it just benefits the elite, like in general, because they want that to happen. because there's the whole like Western world is not reproducing that much, so they need more taxpayers, and people that come from not just there for like Mexico or lower like income countries, they're more leftist and socialist. So when those people come there, they vote for more democratic stuff.
That's
so like it helps them in that way, and there's a lot of reasons to it. But
and we have the possibility now too, by destabilizing that area again, and literally handing over weapons to the Taliban to
that's the other thing
to take over. We're creating another enemy again. For us to possibly have this war machine go on, because we are becoming more and more bankrupt, especially with this pandemic.
Printing more money.
This is a reason to start charging up the war machine again.
Connected to that, Biden just said he's increasing food stamps by like 25%.
Damn,
the biggest increase ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good. I'm going to get on them food stamps.
So when did the troops officially pull out? Was it like this week? And then the Taliban took over within a couple days?
Their pull-out game is weak.
For a week.
For a week.
No, and it was within the last few days, and they just started slowly creeping into the capital city.
It's literally like everything we've done in vain. Like
and it wasn't really that the Taliban did anything. It was that the military and the police that we trained over there, they just said, here you go.
Yeah, we're done.
Well, like you said, that's the other cycle, is we train our own enemies and fund and arm our own enemies, and they keep doing it over and over again. That's where ISIS came from. That's where Osama bin Laden came from. He worked for the CIA and was like supposedly an asset to help us in fighting Russia, and then he turned on. That's what we always do. We fund the rebels, and then the rebels turn on us, and we're like, we gotta go to war with these guys.
Why'd you guys do that?
Yeah, they're driving Toyotas and using like Humvees, and they got our weapons. Like, it's the same playbook over and over again.
Right.
That's the same issue with like China and Russia. We've been talking about this weird Cold War with them forever. It's never going to turn into like a hot war.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm just sick of their narrative. It's like, let's make our own narrative, and we don't need to play in that game anymore.
Yeah, do you have any other topics? We don't have to get into news the whole time. We can talk about philosophy.
Well, kind of connected to that was like a bigger question. It was about TV in general. I saw this old interview from Rod Serling. Do you guys know who that is? He's the guy that wrote not The Outer Limits, but... oh man, I'll have to edit this part.
No worries.
What's it called? The Twilight
Zone. Yeah.
He wrote The Twilight Zone, and he was like really into making television that was like full of morality and like helping people try and be better people kind of stuff. And I feel like now there's not even any like effort in that whatsoever. It's like I guess the question would be like, what do you think TV should be? Like, what would be a good media for people to watch?
You're hitting on some really good stuff, because I remember growing up watching some really wholesome shows. Like Full House, The Cosby Show.
Leave It to Beaver.
Even before that, you had Different Strokes. You had like What's Happening. You had The Golden Girls. You had a lot of positive images.
But even some of that had like some
weird... They touched on some really touchy issues, but it always had more of a positive narrative towards it.
Yeah, and excluding the Golden Girls, a lot of it had very good family values, but think about it, it still was kind of like the precipice of the destruction of the family. Like, look at what Full House is like. The typical Disney story. Like, the mom is dead, and the dad has to have his brothers around to help.
There's like this meta story arc that has been told like through television the last 100 years. Like, well, when's TV been around? Like 70 years? Not quite 100. Started in the 50s, right?
Somewhere around there.
But like starting with Leave It to Beaver, which is like the perfect wholesome mom, dad, everyone's
White Picket
happy.
Fence family, yeah.
Then you go forward in time and you get to the Leave It to Beaver, or I mean, sorry, the what you were talking about, the Full House era, where there's like more divorce, there's like more dysfunction,
Death.
and then you get up to modern times and it's literally Breaking Bad, where it's about the family being evil, doing evil, fighting.
Yeah,
That's
or
like,
literally Modern
and
Family, if you've ever seen that.
It's slowly progressed.
Okay.
That shows how like the narrative is slowly altered over time to become darker and reflecting that back at us, instead of saying like, oh, be this happy, open community family, to now we're just like, hate your family, do drugs, like murder people.
Yep.
That's literally what the families are doing now in all the TV shows. And there's a definite shift in culture that's like happened over that.
Yeah, especially as a reflection of like from culture, a reflection of what the family should be. Is kind of what you're saying, right? Like,
Yeah. And like where does it come from? Is that really a natural outgrowth of culture, or is that specific programming that's been pumped into society?
Almost feels like it's specific, like they're generating ratings or just trying to motivate people in some type of way. I'm not really sure why, but it definitely seems intentional, you know.
I mean, and there's a lot of, higher ups, which I had names, but a lot of higher ups that have gone to committee meetings and talked about trying to influence culture by breaking down the family in all these different ways.
Look, Leary Foundation is one, which has ties to the CIA, actually.
Wow.
But they specifically write scripts for Hollywood and TV shows, and look up the Leary Foundation.
I was going to say the music industry is a perfect example of that, especially like rappers like Will Smith, because they considered him like a corny rapper.
He was wholesome and didn't
he wouldn't sell records like Tupac. All the girls wanted Tupac. They didn't want Will Smith. He was a pretty good rapper, you know what I mean? But he was kind of true to himself, you know what I mean? And the way he raps wouldn't sell today or even in that time, there was kind of a shift.
That was one of the first albums I had. Was
Will
Millennium.
Smith? Yeah.
And it's kind of an embarrassing record to listen to now, but yeah.
Because he doesn't cuss. And
I have the Wild West.
And it's really hard to rap without cussing.
My B. Wow.
It sounds super corny. But that's just who he is. He's like a family man. He's not a gangster. He's just a real dude. I respect that about him, though.
He's
Don't
very
be fake.
good about that.
Right.
Yeah, that
Big
show was
Willy
actually
style
very
all in
wholesome.
it.
That show was actually very wholesome.
It was.
Yeah, it was. It was a good show.
And but it also had the dysfunction that was like on the way. Because it was about him leaving his broken family to live with his uncle, who was more wealthy and like had it together.
Yeah, but they had a very good, solid relationship between the mom and the dad.
Yeah, definitely. It was a strong family unit.
Yep.
We need more of that.
Yeah.
Show enough.
So yeah, that's what we would want on TV. More wholesome family things. That's what I loved with stuff like Star Trek, which wasn't like a traditional family. That was like more of technically it was like militaristic or like setting, but it was about just people that were morally good, that wanted to do good in the universe and were trying to solve problems through their words and not violence.
I love it. And they all didn't look alike.
And it was just like all kinds of cultures and people getting along. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about like the cultural programming of the sitcom style, but let's talk more about the sci-fi style now. The Gene Roddenberry?
That's right.
Yeah, he has a lot of ties.
He was kind of communistic. Yeah.
And and that's been proven time and time again.
He also just was an artist. Like, he had a vision.
So, yeah. And that's one thing.
You guys are going to have to refresh me. I don't know who that is.
That's the creator of Star Trek.
Okay.
Gene Roddenberry.
Nice.
I'm surprised you knew that. Good call. Good. You pulled that one out.
I listen to a lot of Jay Dyer. Thank you.
Jay Dyer, yeah. He's a big nerd. Yeah, for sure.
But no, there's a lot of programming involved with the sci-fi stuff. Like, you have the Huxleys with Brave New World, and like their family goes way back into eugenics and technocracy and all of that. And I feel like you read a sci-fi book, and in 10 years they're trying to implement it. Like, does that come naturally? like we're talking about with the sitcoms, or do you think that's written in? I know the answer, but
Right.
I'm
Well, it
wondering.
depends on the author, I would imagine.
Good.
But yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. Like I just read Childhood's End, which is an insane kind of prophetic book as well, about using science fiction to like sort of program different ideas. Have you guys heard anything about it?
I haven't heard that one, no.
I can give you like a quick synopsis,
Yeah,
because there's kind of a twist early on in the book, because these aliens show up basically, just ships. That's really what shows up, is they see ships appearing in the sky, these massive ships that just sit there. They don't hurt anyone. They don't destroy anything. You know, it's not like Independence Day where they just blow stuff up.
Yeah.
Trying not to cuss.
Nice.
And then they start communicating with humans, and they're like, yeah, we're, you know, I don't even remember how they introduced themselves, but basically they're saying everyone just kind of realizes that they can't fight these things. Someone shoots a nuke at them, like some rogue nation, and it does no damage to them, and they don't retaliate. They're not like trying to hurt humans, but they just show that they're superior in every way, basically. And then people just kind of realize they can't fight them, and like all wars kind of just stop, and Earth kind of just becomes super peaceful.
Wow.
And then they start communicating with
That's
us.
profound.
But they like don't. They only communicate with like one person, and then they start using radios every once in a while when they need to make an announcement. But they're not. They don't reveal themselves, like what they look like. And there's like a big controversy about it. And then at some point early on in their interactions with us, because they're kind of giving us help and like helping us solve problems on Earth and like just making the world a better place, basically. But people are distrustful, and they won't. And they're like, all right, we'll reveal ourselves to you in like 50 years after you guys have had time to like get used to the fact that we exist, and you'll be more accepting, you know, in the future. Which people are kind of mad about. There's like a rebel unit that's of people that are trying to fight back, but there's nothing they can really do, so they just kind of let them try, you know.
Wow.
And then when they finally reveal themselves, it turns out they're basically Satan. Like they literally look like horns, wings,
That's crazy.
red. They're like giants compared to us.
That sounds similar to a rival. Like
It's kind of like that, a little more.
I never
more
actually watched
sinister
it,
than
but
that.
I
Yeah.
heard a breakdown of it.
That's like
And-
more small scale. Like it's just like one alien in one place. That actually no, that does happen all over the Earth, because different scientists in the world are trying to learn.
They're
how
trying to
to
learn the
communicate.
language.
It's very similar, but those are less ominous than this one, because these ones are just like full on like
Dark.
controlling kind of like Earth society. But that book goes crazy places too, because it ends up with, it says Childhood's End, but they basically, I don't want how much I want to spoil, but
Go ahead, man.
I'll just give you
I'm
the
enjoying
basic
this.
premise. The ending is that, so like after living with us kind of for 100 years or a generation or two, humanity gives birth to like a psychic, basically the first psychic. And they're called the Overlords. That's what the aliens call themselves,
That's
which is also
bit,
really creepy.
intense.
But yeah, the humans give birth to a psychic, which is kind of like happening mysteriously, and they don't really talk about it. But the family of the psychic realizes what's happening, and they're like, the Overlords are protecting this psychic because he almost dies, and they like save him. And he's like, well, they're watching over us. But it turns out that like the Overlords themselves even aren't like the highest authority in the galaxy. There's something above them that they don't even really understand, that like is a psychic entity that like is evolving species all over the world.
It's called God.
That's kind of maybe, or something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it like, basically what happens is when humans start giving birth to the first psychic generation, it becomes like another species, basically. Like they're like a hive-linked psychic mind that we can't even like comprehend or communicate with. And it ends our civilization because they don't have any more children. All the children kind of create their own society, and then humans stop having children and just kind of like fade away until there's no more humans left, and there's just the psychic children that like link up to this thing and just like
Weird.
poof. And there's like one human that's left because he like hijacked into one of the Overlord ships to try and find their world, and he was just like curious and like snuck into one of their ships. So because of time dilation, he's gone for a few months, but by the time he gets back to Earth, it's been like 100 years and everyone's dead except these psychic children. So he like witnesses the end of humanity or whatever.
That's crazy.
But that's how the book is.
Dude, that's awesome.
They need a
It's
movie
trippy
of
as
this,
hell.
for
There is
sure.
a TV show, I think. I don't know how accurate it is. But it's weird because it has those elements and that the premise of the Overlords and that whole thing, which even the way they do it is a trick, because you learn there's ships all over the world. But after 50 years, when they reveal themselves, they reveal that only one of those ships was real and they were all holograms.
Damn.
And so they weren't as imposing. They still were incredibly powerful, but they weren't. It was some trickery involved, and it was controlling society to be for the better. So it reminded me of Scientology, technocracy.
And scientism.
Scientism. It was very scientism, because they basically were like, you just have to have faith that we know what's better for you. That was definitely implied. And it was through force, because there was no way to fight back even really against, because they had such crazy technology.
Yeah, and that's what we're kind of doing right now, is giving so much power to these weird autists or whatever the fuck
I know what you mean.
Whatever you
The Bill Gates of the world.
Elite nerds that are trying to take over everything. Like, we're giving them so much power and like respect and funds that we're not going to be able to rebel at a certain
Isn't
point.
what Rand Paul was kind of talking about? Like, they can't arrest everyone. Like, if you don't follow their mandates, what are they going to do? Can they stop 300 million Americans? They can't. You know what I mean?
That's what they're trying to get to, a point where we can't even fight back.
The problem is, pretty much everyone I know is, except for a select few, is shaming me for not getting the vaccine. Oh, you have a friend in the hospital. Have you been vaccinated? No. Well, then it's your fault. Like, that's kind of the sentiment.
No, you're right.
Around like probably 65 to 70% of the population right now.
You're basically like called an idiot if you're not getting vaccinated,
or
if you don't believe the statistics.
That's pretty nice.
At worst, you're an evil, selfish bastard.
Those people are really like sarcastic about it. Like,
I literally just saw a post today. Like, this mom, she's like a 30-year-old I grew up with. She has a kid in the Duval County school system. She's like pro-mask and everything, and she was just like, fuck all these moms that are trying to like make it to where their kids don't have to wear masks. Just like, just volatile about it.
Meanwhile,
it's wild.
There's studies that show that it's worse for kids to wear masks than not, because it's like unhealthy. But there's no discussion allowed of that. It's just like there's certain topics that you're allowed to.
It's definitely unhealthy, but is it more unhealthy to have COVID?
Well, that's a debate. Why can't we just there's no healthy debate. Like, people aren't trained to talk about things. They're trained to like take a position and then just yell at the person that has the other
be really
position.
defiant on their opinions.
There's good arguments to be made on all sides.
There is.
Absolutely.
But when you start shutting out one side of the argument, it causes so much tension and division.
Right. Which is where we've been for quite a while, with this new age society. Just counsel you if we disagree with you, There's no actual room for conversation, which is the reason we started this podcast.
Yeah.
It's just have a normal conversation where things all of us don't completely agree on, but we're able to talk about it pretty openly.
Yeah.
Not shut each other down for it. I personally, I don't think like the vaccine is like killing people. I'm not there yet. I'm just more or less not trusting of it because of how everything was rushed, and I don't know the science behind it, nor am I smart enough to know it, but they should be a little more transparent on it,
Yeah.
But there's none of that,
I just don't trust it. It's like, that's what scares me, is people that just trust people because they say they're a doctor or they say that they're in this authority position. Like, that doesn't mean you should just trust what they say.
It's not critical thinking. We don't teach people to do that. To be trusting, that's not our natural way of thinking. We teach people to like question things and to understand things critically.
We should.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
most people aren't taught that.
And to look at both sides.
Yeah.
And weigh
we even
them.
teach kids that. Not anymore.
Yeah.
It's just critical race theory. It's wear a mask. It's be vaccinated. Don't question it.
Shut up, slave.
Yeah, it's all
shut up and obey, slave.
It wasn't like that.
Don't talk
so
back.
many years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
It's amazing how the
"Eat
left
my
and the
shorts."
right had shifted. You know, the right has become the left. The left has become the right. It's like they've shifted positions. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, it was wild. Like
It's crazy.
back in the early 2000s, late 90s, the right was like the one that's like, you can't say this on the radio, you can't say that. If you say this, then we're not listening to you.
Pokemon is of the devil.
Is of the devil. And now it's
Rock
just
music
like,
is for the devil.
rock
it's
music.
just as or more extreme
Right.
with the other end of things.
Yeah, the left is the one telling
crazy.
you can't listen to certain music or watch certain shows because they're problematic. Instead of being sinful,
Problematic.
they're problematic is the new sinful.
Right.
And it kind of means the same thing.
It does.
It's just a different religion, basically.
Yeah, it is literally. And there is
Wow.
original sin with it too, because if you're white, if you're born with original whiteness sin, automatic. No, that's it. You're born evil.
Yeah, true.
Paul, you got privilege.
I do.
You're not
I do.
born-
Today I do.
You are
Today
not
I do.
born
Maybe
with
not 50 years
original
ago,
white
but today I do. Sad
That's
we're
messed
joking
up.
about it, but it's kind of true. Honestly. Yeah.
That's why he's here. He gives us credibility because you can't
Otherwise,
listen
this
to just white people.
podcast would have been shut down a long time
Too
ago.
far.
You can't listen to white people. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Can't do it. No.
The white devil.
White ain't right.
The white devil.
Can I say that? Yeah, I can. Of course
You can
I
say
I'm
whatever
black.
you want.
I really
Say
can.
that?
I could say the N-word if I wanted to.
Whoa.
I've actually never heard you say it.
No,
Yeah,
I don't.
I haven't.
Good.
I just don't. I don't believe in it. You know. Like,
Good.
I don't know. I just think it's really.
I think it's a word we
Hypocritical.
should completely eliminate.
I completely agree with you.
I don't think
I
any
mean,
word
on
should
all
be eliminated,
sides.
but yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Why say it?
But
Like,
people will support it and say it's our heritage, it's our
Right.
culture. So
so own it.
not
no.
really. And then if it's a at the end or if it's a ER, it's completely different. I'm just not about that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a good Tribe Called Quest song about that very topic.
Okay.
About the uses of the N-word and
I don't think they've ever
Where
said it.
Are they kind of
Yeah, they
like
have.
in
the song is called
support of it, or are they finding
sucka in that word. Can you say it? Wait,
I can.
sucka.
I won't say it.
Don't say it. I don't want to. I don't want to ruin
I
your
can,
track
but I
record.
won't say it.
But that's the song. If you want to
Okay.
look it up, it's a good song.
What
He
does
just
it kind of talk
nodded.
about? What
It
does
was
the
just
song
like-
kind of talk about? Though?
I don't know. You got to listen to
Okay,
it. You could
okay.
take it. In fact,
Cue-
I might not
cue
even
the Tribe
agree
Called
with
Well,
the
I just
song. I'm
I just
saying.
wanted to see if they support like black people saying
It's just
being able to
it's
say
more
it
of a
and-
history. It's just saying this is
Okay.
why people are using it in
Okay.
general. They're not really saying it's like good or bad necessarily. They're just saying this is where it started with young kids saying it and you put it in their songs and taking it back. And
Right.
I don't want to try and rhyme it.
No, you should, man.
Because then I might accidentally say the
I've
word.
heard
I'm
both
not
you
saying it.
guys rap. Not
Yeah.
bad.
He's
Not
good.
bad.
He's
I've
really
heard.
good at it.
I've heard. Let's just say I've heard worse. So yeah, I have.
Yeah, that's good.
And Possible Fossil.
Yeah, possible.
Throwing some
fossil.
plugs out there. Yeah.
There
No,
you go.
it's possible.
Oh,
fossil.
Possible Fossil. Possible.
Possible fossil.
Possible Fossil. Sorry about that.
I didn't
And it
catch
could be
that.
pulsable fossil if you join us.
Yeah. Okay.
Get it?
That
Yeah,
hurt
we
my
should do a
face.
rap song, guys. Yeah,
Should,
I'd be down.
actually, that would be awesome.
I'd be down.
That'd be a fun afternoon.
Yeah,
Let's
Yes,
do it. We each take a
absolutely.
verse,
I'm down.
do a chorus together.
down.
I like it.
Let's look at your notes here.
Other
Is there
topics?
anything else that kind of ties into what we were talking about?
Well, we were talking about making
We kind of went all over the place, but I
making
guess
man
good.
the enemy of man. That was
Okay.
kind of tied into that. That was a specific goal of the Club of Rome, who first came up with the idea of like carbon score and talking-
Bilderberg was huge on that too.
using climate change, and they basically have used COVID to do the same thing and like amplify it.
And they
So
did it
literally,
so quickly.
we're all enemies of each other, where we can't talk to each other. Even like in Britain and Australia, they're literally saying, "Don't talk to your neighbor. If you go outside and you see your neighbor, I know you might want to say hi. Don't. That'll kill him." Like that's literally what they're
no,
saying.
Australia has gone fucking haywire.
Crazy.
Pretty
And that's where I
tyrannical,
think that's the test bed. They're seeing how far they can push it there, and then they're gonna bring it. They're gonna import it here.
It will be last though because we have weapons.
Maybe.
True.
We're also
we have a lot of
very brainwashed
defiant
here.
people too in this country because
We
there's
do.
still about
Well, some people are
half
all
of-
about it. They're like stoked on it. Like they're virtue signaling
Yeah.
about it. They're like literally they have like this stamp on your Facebook profile pic that you can put like,
Yeah.
let's all get vaccinated.
right.
The same one
I'm
they had with the mask
vaccinated.
first came out. Wear your mask. Do your part.
Yeah.
Do you think these people just aren't educated, or are they just
They're
like
educated by the public school to trust government and obey.
okay?
Yeah. And
That's what I-
trust the technocratic laboratory elite. Like Fauci is a god to these people. Oh,
Yeah, true.
He knows how to
But do
make
they
us survive.
Genuinely feel like they're bettering society and they're saving people's lives
Yes.
by being vaccinated.
Yeah, they
I
do.
think
That's
they
kind of
believe
where
that.
I'm at. Or,
I don't think
or
most
people
people
just
are
kind of
evil.
like, fuck it, I'm going to get it just so it makes my life easier.
There's a literal
I feel
mass-
like
There's
I'm kind
a
of
few.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
a mass delusion. I just heard, I don't know the person's name, but if you look up mass delusion, you'll probably find it. But there's a specific, like, scientifically studyable thing that's happening where people are, like, trusting, because of the fear and the stress that's being pumped into people, they're, like, beta waves are, like, lining up where they just want to, like, follow what's going to keep them safe. And this, it's very similar to what happened in Nazi Germany. It's just slightly different reasons. And it's in Germany, they were more like, I think, evilly manipulating people, but most of the people here that are pushing it, I think, are more fear-based, and they're just like, it's like hypnosis, like mass hypnosis,
Yeah.
where people are just like,
It
yes,
works,
like
too.
I need to follow
MK
in line
Ultra.
to live and survive.
Yeah.
It's like a survival instinct thing,
Hmm.
and they know how to like use that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard both types of people where
Okay.
some are like, I'm a superhero for getting the vaccine, and you're absolute scum if you don't get it. But then I've also heard people that are just like, I just want to go to like play
Concerts
music
and
again.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's really
Like,
sad.
That's all they want, and
Yeah.
then they're like mad at you because
Yeah.
you're the reason they can't go to a concert tomorrow night because we have a flare up in Florida or something. You know, it's
The Foo Fighters concert you wanted to go to,
fighters.
but I didn't come up with that.
Nah,
just to be
nice,
fair.
man. Dad jokes.
But that was the good one, yeah, because they even want you had to get vaccinated to go to the Foo Fighters, but then the Foo Fighters, who presumably all of them were vaccinated, someone still got COVID,
Mhm.
Oh, how
and
did
they had
that
to
happen?
cancel the show.
Oh, and there was a band. I'm trying to remember who it was. Just recently, there was a big band. I'll look it up in a minute. But
Okay. I wanted to touch on something real quick.
Hit it,
Yeah,
yeah.
go for
Like, so Israel has like what, close to 90%
talk
of
about
their
it, yeah.
country is vaccinated, but they had a surge in people catching COVID, the Delta variant, you know. So try to make sense of that. And the media never really touched on that thoroughly and really
They're
went in
hiding
depth
it.
on it.
I
Yeah,
even
I was-
have a clip. I might edit it in here of
Okay.
that
No, you should.
of the news report in Israel talking about that fact from
Right.
doctors in Israel saying like, yeah, 90% and 90% of the people in hospitals have been vaccinated.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, that just like crushes your whole narrative. More people should be outraged just by that, but they're not.
The CDC's even admitted that getting the shot now doesn't stop you from getting it. They keep like notching it down. Like before it was like, it'll stop you from getting it. Now you might get it, but you won't end up in the hospital. Now it's
or
like,
you might not die.
now
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, nobody was dying before. It's like 99.96% survivability rate.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yes.
nothing has changed.
the surge didn't start till people started getting vaccinated.
Right.
Yeah, I seriously, as soon as the vaccine started, I now know 10 times as many people that have gotten COVID.
Yeah.
10 times. Like, I knew maybe 3 people before the vaccine came out, and now it's just like every
been a
day somebody
surge.
else is getting it, including my brother.
Oh, damn.
It's just nuts.
He's vaccinated.
I went to go take my mic because I'm using a different mic now because the other one is broken. And I had to go to a couple places because the first place I went to couldn't fix it. The second place, the guy had just gotten the second shot and he was too sick to like talk to me.
so
Yeah,
weak.
Yeah, he was like, I just got the second shot. It hit me really hard.
Mm.
So I had to go somewhere else.
Damn.
But yeah,
So
the shot
bad.
itself apparently hurts you
But
pretty
it
good.
only lasts 3 days, but COVID can last 7 to 10 days.
Right.
That's when I use that argument. That's what people are saying, and it's like.
Well, here's also something that people aren't really talking about. So even if you do get the vaccine, it's only going to last 6 months because they're now saying you're going to have to get the booster shot 8 months after the first shot. So COVID's not this long. It's not a fucking tetanus shot. Yeah, it lasts 10 years, right? The COVID vaccine only lasts a very limited time. So people are acting like they're good for the rest of their life.
And it doesn't actually build antibodies like most normal vaccines do.
That's why it's better just to get the sick, and then you get the antibodies and you're good.
True that.
But the CDC literally changed the definition.
Get out.
The CDC changed the definition of herd immunity. Because do you guys know what herd immunity is?
Kind of. I have a general idea.
What do you guys think herd immunity is?
Well, I know that it's when everyone gets sick and they build antibodies together and the bacteria starts working together to help you.
Wrong.
See, that's kind of what I was.
According to the CDC, that's not the right definition.
The CDC says it's when everyone is vaccinated. In other words, they don't count actually getting antibodies and sick as part of it anymore. Even though on their same website, an older definition shows, on a different article, it shows the original definition when everyone has either gotten sick or gotten the vaccine. Now it's like only if you got the vaccine.
See, this is a problem with the brainwashing. Why are people listening to the CDC?
I don't know.
I mean, they used to say that black people were 3/5 of the man. So I mean, just because somebody says something doesn't mean it's true. Scientists can say that. Yeah. There's pastors that have said things that aren't true about Christianity.
Well, I think it's because they have the media like in their pocket, and that's who's feeding this information to the culture. And they control Facebook, and they control Twitter, and all these. They're the ones deciding what is good and bad information. You know.
They have all the mainstreams.
Yeah.
But yeah, I figured out who that was. It's the drummer of Offspring was fired from the band. Oh
yeah, they actually fired who'd been with the band for years.
Yeah, like 30 years.
Because his doctor advised him not to get it. Because he'd already had the virus for one. He had antibodies.
That's crazy.
That's wild. And they fired him. That's just crazy.
All these punk bands are just bowing down, man.
That's the opposite of punk rock. Whoa, you're not going to listen to Authority? You're out of our punk band. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you being an individual, thinking for yourself? Get out of our punk rock band. We only accept people who obey.
Offspring, more like lack of offspring after you get that vaccination.
I kind of like this mic because I can get like really into this mic.
I like it.
Like use it.
I like your British accent, man. Pretty good.
Oi. Oi, governor. Obey the Queen. The Queen says put on a mask, get the 10 shots, and go home to your flat.
Pub.
And use the head.
Local pub.
All right, before we wrap up, I want to know what Nigeria's like with all this shit.
Yeah, tell us about
or just
COVID.
In general,
okay,
really.
so COVID. So as soon as you leave, when you're in the airport, let me start at the airport. When you're in the airport, you have to
when you're leaving here or you're there in the airport.
I say in any airport in the world.
Okay,
dude, it's like Nazi Germany, dude. You're wearing a mask full time.
They're scanning your body.
The whole time you're in the airport, the whole time you're in a plane. They're like spraying people's bags down with like these chemicals and shit.
What?
That was in
sterilize it or
something? That was in Nigeria. They didn't do that in the States. But I was pretty much wearing a mask for like 20 hours straight. I'm pretty sure in June that's why I kind of got sick.
Did they make you keep it over your nose and stuff?
Yeah.
Did you try and
Yeah, dude. You can't put it only when you're eating or drinking. That's the only time you can have your mask off.
I'd be drinking water like 6 hours.
Just like, yeah,
that's what they just announced.
Don't worry, I'm still working on that. Yeah. It's just like a couple drops.
Side note, they just mentioned in Australia that if you're outside and you're drinking, you have to keep your mask on. I don't know how you're supposed to do it, but they said
the logic behind this.
Anyway,
man.
Yeah, so you had to keep it on for like 20 hours?
Yeah, pretty much, because my flight was like 10 hours, and then you factor in the layover time, and then the time trying to get through customs.
Yeah.
So it was probably like 20 hours.
Dang.
Both ways. You got to get a COVID test to enter Nigeria and to leave. and that test is roughly about $130. Yeah, it's
someone's making bank.
Yeah,
well, we know who's making bank on that.
There's a lot of
Bill
monetary
Gates,
reasons why
Fauci.
this is lasting as long as it is too. But once you leave the airport in Nigeria, it's like freedom. It's like nobody's wearing
They don't care
mask
anymore.
Nobody's social distancing. COVID doesn't exist in Nigeria.
Oh shit!
And you know what else? Like the death rate there is extremely low. The rates of infection are extremely low. No one's wearing a mask. Nobody's probably vaccinated over there as well. A very smaller percentage of people.
Did you see any like ads or signage for that?
Nothing.
Yeah.
They pretty much know it's all bullshit, you know.
That's pretty based.
They do, yeah.
Nigeria's pretty based.
Right.
Nigerians use Bitcoin and they don't get vaxxed.
But I feel like there's a lot of other third world countries that are kind of like that, where they can't really enforce it because they already know the government's so corrupt.
Yeah.
Like, you guys can't fool us with that. Yeah. So, yeah, it was pretty nice being there, not wearing a mask. It kind of felt like normal society, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt good to just be somewhere where COVID isn't rampant and you're not constantly ingested with this fear.
Because people say like Florida's like that, but living in Florida, there's still a lot of people wearing masks. A lot of people.
There's
until
been
recently,
more.
you couldn't really. There were places you still couldn't even go into without them forcing you to do it. They're not as bad now about it, but
I've seen more people wear masks since the Delta variant than before that. Before that, it was like, man, this thing's kind of going away.
Yeah,
but
and then
it's gotten worse since I've gotten back.
Ramping it back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Going to the old playbook.
Yeah.
You know.
It's the same deal.
It worked last time, so it's got to work this.
Right. It's working though. But to answer your question, COVID isn't really a thing in Nigeria. You know.
That's cool.
I
didn't realize that.
Yeah.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
Even in like the bigger cities and stuff.
Yeah. It's because it's not very easy. It's not very convenient for somebody to constantly have to buy one of those bullshit little masks, you know, because you're not supposed to wear those things.
You can just put a t-shirt over your face.
You're supposed to be able to wear it for like an hour and you throw it away.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's like,
I've never had
people barely have
things.
like clean water and food. Why the fuck are you going to spend money on a mask? You know what I mean?
I haven't seen the news talk about how those are getting like thrown away everywhere either and are causing environmental issues because there's so many masks.
Insane pollution issue with
but that's not a problem.
The gloves and the masks, it's crazy. Like, it's a damn red light district throwaway.
You know? No,
are you saying it's like a condom? Is that what you're?
It just reminds me of like a red light.
I think the CDC recommended that.
Did you guys ever see anyone wear the gloves and the mask, like when COVID like first started?
Yeah.
You'd see people with like
when
gloves,
I put on a condom, I put the mask
and
over it and then a glove over top of that.
I've legit
Extra
seen people in
man.
like scrubs, dude.
Oh yeah,
like, just
like a bubble boy.
Scrub is a guy who thinks it's fine. He's not wearing a COVID mask. Anyway,
Nice.
I don't know. I got nothing.
Nice.
we tried.
Well,
Look, don't go chasing stupid
how long
puns.
is this gone? We could probably wrap it up. We've gone almost an hour.
Chasing COVID balls.
COVID balls? Wait, what?
Yeah. You don't want COVID on
I was
your
making
balls,
a
dude.
COVID balls. A more G-rated version of that song.
Nice.
Oops.
Don't go making... Wait. Don't
Edit.
go making dumb dad jokes. Please stick to the comedy that you used to. All right, let's wrap it up.
Perfect time to wrap
edit
it
this
up.
part out.
Yeah. Good.
Good.
That was good, dude. That was really good.
Yeah, it was
We
good.
went for like a fucking hour.
We
That was
were
good.
naturals.
We
You
are.
guys are good.
Getting there.
You guys are good to talk to.
You're good too, dude. I think we just have a lot in common. We haven't
like we're
talked
friends or
in a while.
something.
Right.
Oh, one thing
it's
I
like
wanted
we
to
play in
mention,
a praise band.
as we're wrapping up here, I just wanted to shout out to my bro, Ethan at H3H3. That dude's just really smart. Like, I just really respect him. And I love when he said, you know, bro, just like, you don't even have to think about it. You know, just like obey what the government says and you don't even have to think about it. Like, they're paid to think for you. Just listen to them, bro. Just don't even
Thank
think
you,
about it.
Thank you, Ethan.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Just the wisest thing I've ever heard anyone say.
Right.
All right. Just had to get that in.
And thank you, Sleepy Joe, for doing the Lord's work.
Yes.
Right.
Lion, dog face, pony soldier.
Our
And
fellow Americans. No, I can't do a Biden accent.
Oh, that sounded more like Obama for a
Yeah,
second.
I kind of was working on the Obama for a while. But
Oh, Biden.
I don't even know how Biden.
Like a blend of the two.
Oh,
oh, Biden.
oh, Biden.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. It's like a bunch of roaches coming up my leg hair. It's just like,
True international depression. That's a quote. That's a real quote.
No, it is.
All right, we're just ad-libbing now. We want to wrap it up.
wait,
How do we wrap
we're
this
still
up?
recording.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
still. Oh,
Oops.
this is embarrassing. You guys caught us
All right,
in an
thank you,
awkward.
Paul.
Always
Thank
cut
you,
this
Zach.
out.
This is
Thank you, guys.
Crossing the Chasm.
Have a great day, guys.
Appreciate it, y'all.
God bless.
Peace.
Peace.